Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Magic Arena Run. Today we are doing Midweek Magic, and actually I didn't really plan to do this one at first. I was kind of busy. As I mentioned that I actually will not be able to do Pokemon Unite Weekly tonight at the time of this recording because I will be going to the funeral of a family friend. So I needed something that was really fast, and this is actually the old deck I was running, but there have been some interesting changes courtesy of new Capenna. So for everyone who remembers this deck before, it's all about the Inquisitor Captain and all about getting the busted synergies. We don't get to chain Inquisitor Captains with Glasspool Mimic anymore, but still being able to get some of the good stuff back is quite decent here. The most notable addition here from Alchemy is actually going to be Obscura Polymorphist, because sometimes you need to be able to just get rid of a creature outright. Skyclave Apparition works, but it's kind of limited to only 4 drops and lower. It does have the advantage of hitting non-land stuff. Brutal Qatar hits everything, but has the disadvantage of giving it back if it bites the dust. This one has the disadvantage of giving our opponent a creature card from their deck, though they still have to cast it, so it actually gives us a decent tempo swing here. So that's pretty much our game plan for the most part. So in terms of removal effects, we now have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. We still have the 3 copies of Fateful Absence. I could easily swap this with March of Otherworldly Light. There is a good chance this might be better. I'll leave this in here for now. Same with the Kabira Takedown, leave that in for now. So I haven't exactly added so many cards from Neon Dynasty since. I actually tried to take a look. Not many fit, except for Fragment Reality. We added 1 copy of that. Bumped up the Professor Symbology. This is essentially a 4-mana deck for the most part. You can get away with 3 mana most of the time, but we essentially want to hit 4 eventually. So having the 2 copies of Environmental Sciences helps. Other than that, pretty simple for the most part. We will give this one a go. I did get my concept games in. Not too shabby for the most part. Now, there are some cases where we are in trouble. That's why we do need the instant speed interaction. As of now, this is actually fine keepable. We can just lead on turn 1 Fading Hope if our opponent drops something really busted turn 2. And we can open into Qatar if we need to. I did also up the land count a little bit because there will be cases where I do want to be able to cast some of the MDFCs as actual spells. Opponent leads on Shalai. We will bounce it, which is a good one. We did not need that. We are running into a lot of Fateful Absences though, so we are hitting our removal. We just need 1 creature to land. Could I have waited for something better? Probably, but I know my hand situation is not so great, so I really wanted. So I opted to have something. So I opted to just keep churning through. Maybe we could Elite Spellbinder. This is fine. Most likely they take the Skyclave Apparition. We can still drop Qatar for the most part. Our opponent could go for Embrose, but then we have 2 Fateful Absences waiting. Oh, they take the Adelaide line. Okay. Wow, we might be in trouble here. I'm assuming they have removal for this, so we would be giving them a 3-drop token. Not annoying, but not the worst. Well, okay, if they're playing that, it really is not the worst. Let's give them a token. Opponent might also be stuck, so that's something to consider. So we're gonna see if our... Okay, let's see if they land a 3-drop. Cleric of Life's Bond. We kind of have to let that land. I want to kill some of the other things, but I kind of also want to just have a clear board for now. Now, there is an argument for me doing symbology into Teaching of the Archaics that should refill our hand, but I kind of wanted to land a board here. Also, our opponent playing this version of Clerics, they probably do have a board wipe, but it's not super likely. If our opponent just plays Ambrose, I could actually just swing. Oh no, they're really going for the Clerics. So 3/3, sure, that's fine. I say this is fine too. No, I probably am going to hold Jawari Disruption this time. We could force them to use up their last mana. Yeah, let's force them to use up their last mana. At least it denies a Bloodchief's Thirst. There. So this will become a 4/4, but that's not a concern here. So change of plans. So no matter what they block, they're dead. Yeah, that was some pretty decent control in the most part, and we did not even land in our Inquisitor Captain or our Obscura Polymorphist. So still pretty solid. We got a nice win there. Let's see if we can push. We're gonna try to push for about 3 or 4 wins, but I might have to cut the video a little bit earlier because because it's raining. I don't have a UPS quite yet. So I might need to pull the plug a little bit earlier just to be on the safe side. I remember the rain here is still quite bad. It's a good thing I'm not doing a live right now. It might get worse on the weather front. Okay, we got our Inquisitor. We got an early Fading Hope. We will just Glasspool Mimic. We will drop this as a Glasspool Mimic first, as a Glasspool Shore. So definitely environmental sciences. Cleric of Life Spawn. We can Cathar that. We can also Polymorphist that, but I want to save it for their more expensive cards. Because I can cast this, I'll be forced to play the land though, because I do want to bounce it. Let's offer a trade first. Nope, not gonna take it. That's kind of expected. So, since we know that's what's up, gonna cast that, grab a blue source, hold up for Fading Hope. Looks like everyone. Elite Spellbinder, so this could grow. We're giving our opponent quite a bit of choice here, but yeah, I think we bounced the Cleric. Probably should have bounced it beforehand so you don't give them a life trigger. Yeah, but we're gonna keep the Polymorphist up on top. We're probably gonna lose the Inquisitor Captain, which is bad, but not too bad. Pretty much our plan now is going to be just polymorphing everything. Oh, they take the Polymorphist. So I could go Inquisitor Captain and hope to land something else. So I'm gonna offer the trade first. Okay, then we go for the Inquisitor. Hope we hit. Yeah, we hit. We could have done our own Elite Spellbinder. That would have been okay as well. So also to remember that we cannot just copy Inquisitor Captain. We're not going to get that effect. We do have another one though. And having 11 of these effects actually makes a decent chance that we're going to hit. So probably go for the probably go for the native polymorphist. Them getting the card right away is a bit of a bummer deal, but it's okay. Now our opponent could have a kill spell for this, sure. They probably block the Inquisitor Captain or something smaller, sure. Yeah, that's fine. Make them start using up their resources there. We still have removal on standby, which is going to be quite interesting for our opponent's deck. Especially because the clerics, generally it's all about trying to dump as many, maintain a huge board. Now their huge board is going to be limited by the amount of mana they have. There is an argument for Glasspool Mimic to dig up another Professor of Symbology, so you can hit more of our land drops, but I think we kind of max out at 7 if we're going for Mascot Exhibition. This one, opponent goes for their own Inquisitor Captain. Let's see what they hit. It's going to be the Battle of the Captains. So again, remember, if you cast it, ooh, that's not a great hit. Well, that's actually quite decent for us. Yeah, I'm willing to trade one of these. It's actually quite fine. The key factor here is the board state. We want to reduce it as much as possible. Cleric of Life Spawn, sure. Elite Spellbinder. That might snipe our Brutal Qatar, but we still have a Polymorphist in hand. And it only sets this up to to a pair of 3/3, so the Elite Spellbinder is the one issue. We'll probably snipe that. So they take the Polymorphist again, so a little buff here and there. Let's hope. Since they only attacked with one, we're actually going to just trade. Yeah, we're not hitting our land drop, unfortunately. I might actually have to give up on this. I could have alternately cracked the clue first, see what happened. Now this one, if they're willing to trade, I am willing to trade. That's fine, actually. Opponent, yeah, they're really dropping their clerics, so we're gonna take a little bit of a hit here, but Nothing too brutal. Not gonna be able to swing back quite easily. Voice of the Blessed. Okay, sure, 4/4. So now it's time for. Now we need to start dropping these. And it's time to convert this into a card. I'm gonna be annoyed if this turned out to actually be a land, but we'll see. Oh, Jawari Disruption. Technically, it's a land. Into another one. And the opponent knows that if they start grinding out more of these, I can still catch up with this. Righteous Valkyrie. So they're going to try to regain their life back. This might actually be a danger position for us. Into another... Well, yeah, we are... Yeah, we are seeing the caveat of Obscura Polymorphist. So they've regained most of their life. Now I could have just sacked that, but okay, so we hit Adeline. Ooh, wow. Also, I did not realize I have way too much blue mana, so that's... So, the Polymorphist was objectively better. No point of swinging there. Let's hope our opponent has a 5-drop. I sincerely doubt it. We might actually lose this particular battle now. Let's see. How many of our opponent's creatures did we go through? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we went through 8 of them. So 21. Angel of Unity, 22, 23, 24, 25, 20. Oh. Well, time to count. Well, I guess I held it up for this moment. I kind of wish it was the other way around. But we are going to be taking a beating on the bottom. Yeah, not having enough. And we're going to end up giving them another creature, which is not great either. I would love to flip Brutal Qatar just and start unflipping, but we're probably going to die at that rate. And we're actually kind of playing into them because they enjoy having these enter the battlefield, and this one is it's the best one to exile, but it's also the worst one to have re-enter. But so far it's only 26, 25. Okay, not so dead yet, but we kind of need another hit. I could also try to go for flipping this one, and if we hit one of our instants, that might be a decent game plan. So I am forced to block. Yeah, I don't mind giving up the Polymorphist here. But we are really running out of options. Yeah, me playing off that Glasspool Shore was a really big bummer. Okay, if I cast these, it gives me a board down here, but not... Actually, it does give us something. But we end up helping our opponent because we can't just swing into... We can swing, but we're gonna end up creating a token for Aura. So not so ideal. And yeah, not have... Did we really just have two white sources this whole time? Yeah, I think we can concede this one. Our opponent's definitely gonna hit their 27. I would not be able to do anything. Well, I could swing to hit, but it becomes fatal for us. So not perfect, but I still kind of like it for the most part. Cards that I ended up cutting, Malevolent Hermit got cut. That there are going to be a good number of non-creature spells, but we kind of need to keep pushing the throttle here. I will say that it's probably a good idea. Well, actually, no. We do need to have the number of islands we're running now because of... But it can be awkward. So definitely keeping this. Yeah, having all the tap lands are a bit awkward, but we can lead off on, say, preparation for a turn 2 Fading Hope. Or we can do Professor of Symbology next turn if we need to. Yeah, I guess we do Professor of Symbology. So our options here, probably not teaching. We're definitely getting Enviro. Usually if I see mono green, unfortunately we don't. I would need another creature. I could stall them out a little bit. Yeah, the problem with Kabir Takedown, not enough. I'm gonna swing first, see if they respond to this. Nope, not blocking, so they obviously need it. Get an island. And not taking any chances. Yeah, I will keep that. Another Inquisitor Captain is going to be a good setup here. So we will be using one turn for the Kabira takedown into Brutal Qatar. I'm assuming our opponent has a... No, does not necessarily have a 3-drop. Oh, they don't even have the protection spell. Okay, not bad, not bad. So we're expecting a huge 4-drop, which might be a concern for not being... Okay, no, Werewolf Pack Leader, 2-drop. Do we have another 2-drop? Nope, just a fight? Sure. Okay, this is actually interesting. Unfortunately, we don't have enough white mana again. Maybe I can go Inquisitor into something first. Yeah, let's go Inquisitor, see if hopefully we hit something. Okay, we hit Skyclave Apparition. That's a good hit. Opponent now blocking, which is super interesting. Uvenwald Oddity. Okay, sure, we'll take the 4. So we have another Brutal Qatar, but this is probably the best opportunity to Uvenwald here. So if our opponent has more of these oddities, we might be in for a trade game of sorts. I'm considering if I should... Nah, I think we're fine. But I maybe should cut down one island and just replace it with one more plains. That sounds like a good fit. Ooh, opponent now having to do Ranger class. Not a good sign at all. So definitely Inquisitor Captain. We can hold up the Kabira takedown here. And let's see. We have to take the Brutal Qatar here because we're aiming for a token. Let's see if our opponent does have protection this time. Snakeskin Veil. Let's see. Do they have protection again? No, they did not. Yep, nice sequence. And we still have a backup Brutal Qatar for that matter. Yeah, Inquisitor Captain still good. We had the option of the Polymorphist, but in this particular case, since we also had the option for Skyclave Apparition, we just went with that instead. Okay, so actually quite fast still, like less than half an hour. We'll do one more game. No, don't want to make this video too long, though the rain has kind of lessened out a bit, so that's kind of good news for us there. Yeah, for the most part, Alchemy, sometimes it's just the small updates. I've actually considered updating this to either Brokers or Esper. Super slow. Opponent kept. I can go for the Professor of Symbology, at least. Yeah, we're gonna kind of have to do that. But it's gonna be super slow runnings until we hit the land. We might be in trouble, especially if our opponent's playing... Okay, maybe not too much in trouble. We still need environmental sciences for the long term. But we do have enough pieces of removal in hand. Let's see. This does look like a Yep, bog standard enchantments build. Draw a card. Gonna take the 4. Yeah, I really don't have to say this, but you really have to reconsider. Okay, that's actually a good hit. Now, unfortunately, Polymorphist only exiles creatures, so that's not gonna hit there. But we do have options now, so we're gonna go for Reduce to Memory because that can steal their Circle of Confinement. If our opponents... Okay, opponents is going for Showdown, so they don't exact... So they are having some mana issues. They're definitely having mana issues there. So, definitely more white mana. Let's go with Inquisitor Captain first, see if we can... I guess Polymorphist is fine. We are giving them another creature, so we're in... Yeah, they're just taking the hit for now. If we can hit another mana, I might just go for multiple. Okay. So they're going for a big Generous Visitor. Okay, so they're gonna go. They're gonna spread the love around a little bit. Let's see. 6/5. I am willing to trade the Captain and Polymorphist here. So. Because their job's kind of done. They're gonna gain the life anyway. So... I could actually go... Yeah, we'll go Linval. We could also go do Glasspool Mimic, copy Professor Symbology to grab another Environmental Sciences. Now we'll go Linvala. And probably have to give up on the Glasspool Mimic. We do want to start them. Though opponent landing the Showdown was a very big deal here. So we're gonna have to see how does our opponent stack all these precious counters. Ooh, lots of generous visitors here. They're not casting an enchantment yet. Rune of Speed, so that's a big one. Three, four, five, six, seven. No trample. Let's see. Yeah, that probably haven't encountered, because I'm surprised you would probably know what Linvala does because of you'd know what Linvala does because there was a version of Blue Angels. So now we're going to nuke the token. Play Resplendent Qatar. Swing with everything. We are now willing to trade off for their generous visitors. That's going to be very generous of them. Because my creatures already did their thing, their creatures still have ongoing benefits. That's usually the case. Opponent might start stacking onto a Runeforge champion, but it does open up some interesting plays for me. Like, for example, I can easily just reduce to memory the Circle of Confinement, get my Skyclave Apparition back. I can also just Obscura Polymorphist the champion. Trying to see what our opponent hit. I'm pretty sure it's just more runes. We can kind of afford to take the hit at this point. Opponent cannot. So... yeah, it's target non-land permanent. Because I can just exile this right away, just give them the 3/2. I can ignore this for the most part. Yeah, let's try not to be cute. And willingly offering the Brutal Qatar as well, but they're going to trade with Inquisitor Captain. Sure. And next turn, we now have the option of our Cave the Frost Dragon. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Sure. I am most likely going to just Polymorphist the Kami. Oh, wow. Did it? And copy Brutal Qatar in this case. No need to give them another card if we don't have to. And there we go. Yeah, the setup is still very strong for the most part. That's how we do things. I guess there is enough time for one more game. Yeah, I guess there's enough time. Let's do one more, one for the road. Also noticing a lot of the decks we're running into right now are kinda the same. I don't know if it's an indication of what it's like in Alchemy or if it's just people playing Midweek Magic. They want to just grind the games out quickly. If that's the kind of meta we're expecting, I'm kind of happy with the setup. But I've heard that there are other problem decks in Alchemy right now. The discard deck is supposedly still a problem. So we just haven't run into that yet. Okay, definitely keeping this. We're going to land. We're gonna land on the deserted beach first. We might have to fragment reality something. Yeah, because fragment reality on turn 1's usually not bad. Is it better than a Professor of Symbology? I'd say we Professor Symbology. I think we go for teachings here. Not so sure how relevant, super relevant that's gonna be. Captain Eberhard. Well, we're not drawing into that anytime soon. And offer a trade. Now, okay, opponent's dropping Luminarch Aspirant instead. Now, the off timing does make it worse. But you also know what makes it worse? Not having a 0 mana creature. So now we have to decide if we want to just draw more. Never mind, opponent concedes. Looks like missing the land drop also is going to be kind of fatal at that point. There we go. So far we've encountered all aggro, so not exactly a definitive look at what alchemy is. I'm surprised we did not encounter any red-green mid-range or green-black or any sort of black discard control. So take this deck amendment with a grain of salt, but if you've already invested cards in alchemy before and you don't want to invest too much in the new ones, like even the Obscura Polymorphist, maybe you don't want to have necessarily all 4 copies of them. There are some other decent options. Like I said, I did not exactly explore Kamigawa Neon Dynasty that much. The land base could easily use one each of the legendary lands. That would have been a decent fit. But anyway, that's going to be it for this episode of the Magic Arena Run. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, turn on notifications and whatnot. Again, there will be no Pokemon Unite Weekly this week because I'm attending a funeral, but otherwise this is a call for everyone to appreciate life for what it is, appreciate all the people around you, and yeah, take care, God bless, stay safe wherever you are. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.